When I started the Charismatic voice, I didn't know that it would lead me to question how voices fundamentally work, but curiosity is key to why I have loved making over 650 videos on this channel. My background is in opera. I'd already been singing professionally for over a decade when I started analyzing contemporary music on YouTube. I have multiple degrees in vocal performance, and that included courses in vocal pedagogy. Also, I'd already at this point been reading research papers for fun because I am and always will be an enthusiastic nerd. But I was still a classically trained enthusiastic nerd, and I don't think that I gave non-opera singers enough credit. When I saw Bruce Dickinson take up his horse stance, I totally flipped because that is essentially a classical technique. I didn't think that contemporary singers approached their technique with as much deliberation as opera singers, but when I got to interview Bruce later, he is very self-aware and extremely nerdy about his technique. He knew exactly what I was talking about when I referenced his horse stance. To be totally transparent with you all, I think that I started this channel with a misconception, a bit of an elitist viewpoint, because I thought that opera was the epitome of refined vocal technique. Weirdly, this may have actually helped me to love some metal music at first take, but it also caused my brain to explode. And curiosity and voice science helped me put the pieces back together. So for the rest of this video, I'm going to be showing you some examples of how applying classical voice technique to contemporary music totally delighted younger Elizabeth. And I'm also going to be showing you how learning more about voice science greatly increased my ability to appreciate all kinds of music. I'm hoping that by the end of this video, you're going to want to take my Introduction to Voice Science course, which I co-created with speech pathologist Dr. Amanda Stark. She's awesome. It's an awesome course. I really think it's for every single person out there, and it's releasing on March 23rd. I'll put a pinned comment about that below. Common to all genres of singing is a 3-step process. You breathe, you phonate or create a sound in some way, and then you shape that sound with resonance or articulation. And there are strategies in classical music to optimize all 3 of these steps. Let's take a look at some classical breathing strategies that some contemporary singers employ. We already saw Bruce Dickinson use an essentially operatic strategy with his horse stance, which gives him low and powerful breath support. Devin Townsend has a similar stance, which I discussed in my analysis of him singing Kingdom. Floor Jansen from Nightwish also uses incredible breath support, especially as she navigates through her passaggio in Ghost Love Score. Her breathing stays low, and she's very efficient with the amount of air escaping. By the way, analyzing Ghost Love Score was my entry drug into metal. And Floor's vocal technique, which is just steeped in classical tradition, I think is a large reason why I was so immediately enamored with it. All of these singers are breathing really low. Their support feels like it's down around their hips or belly, or maybe like it's even going into their feet. I used to think that this was the best and only good method for breathing. But then I encountered some successful shallow breathing, so I started digging into voice science a lot more. You can tell in this video where I'm analyzing Angelina Jordan that I'm getting really specific about the region of breath. Thoracic or clavicular or abdominal. I already had studied these things some, but I got a lot deeper and more specific around this time. At this point, I still thought that there was just one best way to breathe, and that was low. However, after a few more years, I decided that I should rephrase that a little bit. I think that the best way to breathe is to breathe for the phrase that you are about to sing. In the case of most opera or big belted moments, that means you're going to breathe low. But in the case of Billie Eilish, where you're going for really whispery, breathy moments, she has very, very successful shallow breathing. By the way, I remember telling somebody about 10 years ago that I thought that Billie Eilish didn't have a very good voice. And that is proof that my love of music was restricted by a narrow understanding. I just needed to learn more about voice science. How do you know what kind of breath to take? Shallow, deep, in between? Maybe you should take our course. Okay. Enough about breath, I know. We're gonna move on to the next step and talk about phonation, making a sound. The shift in understanding voices is hilariously easy to see when comparing two thumbnails. My first time hearing Tati from Ginger scream, and then 5 years later, when I'm analyzing Miss World Chili's screams. With Ginger, I look a little more than concerned, and with Miss World Chili, I'm like, yeah, go girl, yeah, get it! Now, we're peeking down the throats of professional singer-screamers in a research room full of glee and cameras. Spoiler alert, screaming can be good for you. We have more science videos on extreme vocals coming very soon. For right now, let's take a look at some other examples of phonation. Linda Ronstadt has become one of the greatest female singers in my mind of all time. She achieves so much efficiency in her phonation, meaning that when her vocal folds go wacka, 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 it's not too hard, it's not too soft, it's the perfect amount of contact for a balanced tone. Plus, she doesn't have much extraneous tension. I even talk about measuring that tension using tape on the forehead during my analysis of her singing Blue Bayou. By the way, we describe in great detail with food what wacka 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 really means in our voice science course. On the opposite side of the piano from Linda Ronstadt, Tim Faust and Jeff Castellucci have both blown my mind with their low notes and introduced me to a concept I didn't previously know about: subharmonics. This really piqued my curiosity and led me to reading a whole bunch of papers about tube and throat singing and this crazy ability that some people have of coordinating at like half-time true vocal folds and their false vocal folds, and that eventually led me down the road to Anna Maria Hefele, and oh my gosh, we will get into her overtone singing later. Right now, we have to talk about beatboxing. Beatboxing actually combines insane phonation sources with shaping and resonance and articulation. Oh, and the breath flow management is unlike anything I knew possible from classical singing. I feel like I'm about to enter the next phase of vocal understanding because of beatboxing. I recently took a lesson with Beatbox International to help answer some of those questions. We did record it, we will release it soon, but the point is, so much of voice science applies to beatboxing, but in ways that I never thought possible. My brain is exploding. Okay. Before I just get overwhelmed with excitement, let's hone in on that third step of the singing process. That's going to be our shaping, resonance, articulation. We're going to take a look at mouth shaping. In classical singing, the strategy is essentially to overdo what your mouth is doing while speaking. Yes? There's much more detail to that. If you round your lips, that's probably good. If you look like a Pez dispenser, awesome. That's why I got so excited about John Farnham's mouth shaping. He is a poster boy for clear, projected articulation. The opposite of Pez dispenser mouth is what we find in grunge music. And I kid you not, that Elizabeth from 7 years ago would have hated grunge. Thank goodness I've learned more since. I tried to record an Alice in Chains analysis of Nutshell really early on at the Charismatic Voice, and I hated it so much I stopped. I didn't understand yet that the strategy for singing was simply different. Grunge doesn't want to prioritize a balanced tone or crisp enunciation. Instead, it wants to highlight the gritty, dank side of life, the not so pretty side of living. Once I understood that strategy and understood how grunge singers use voice science to achieve their goals, suddenly I appreciated grunge music too. Beautiful pitch, beautiful length of line. And before we move on from the mouth shape enunciation subject, I have to talk about Robert Plant because he has the most creative and wild uses of diphthongs. I can't get over, actually, how well so many contemporary singers are breaking the rules from classical singing and how they're using diphthongs. It's just awesome. Now let's chat resonance. One of the greatest examples of resonance shaping that I've ever witnessed is Anna Maria Hefele performing overtone singing. She makes us perceive multiple pitches, even though she's only phonating at the laryngeal level on one pitch. She enhances the overtone with her resonance chamber, and she has godlike control over this. By the way, we discuss overtones and the harmonic series in our voice science course. And before you decide to just go and buy it already, I want to talk about one more thing. I believe that understanding allows us to love more. Yes, you can love something without understanding it, but I think that when you know the ins and outs and what makes a thing, or in some cases a person, tick, then I think that your experience of that thing or person exponentially deepens. I recently started analyzing the Beatles, and I am so glad that I saved their music for later in this journey. They combine classical influences with contemporary exploration to a degree that I don't think I could have truly appreciated until just recently. It's absolutely amazing. I have so many more examples of artists that I've fallen more in love with because I've learned more about voice science. Till Lindemann, Opeth, Kate Bush. Wow, there's a lot. Please put in the comments down below your favorite example of falling more in love with a voice because of analysis on this channel. And thank you, patrons, for helping me source some awesome examples for this video. Don't forget to check out our course on Intro to Voice Science that releases on March 23rd. Please go get it. It's for anybody who sings, anyone who speaks. I think it will increase your enjoyment of music exponentially. Meanwhile, may you fall more in love with music every day.